during the 20 years I've been here at the Florida Aquarium, I've seen it grow from a dirt parking lot and a warehouse district to really the gem of Channelside. I mean, it literally sparkles. And our education program and our conservation programs have grown exponentially during that time too. And those are the things that people might not see from the outside. So the purpose of this eco tour is to get out into Tampa Bay and experience Tampa Bay and all the wildlife that's out there that it's right in your backyard. You might not even know it's there. You're likely to see anything from dolphins to migratory birds to nesting birds like egrets and herons doing their thing, doing their mating dances, taking care of their chicks. Manatees sometimes pop up on the radar. And of course, just the fish and the rays and everything else that you can see. If we're really lucky, we'll see an eagle ray burst out of the water. There's a number of different animals that we could see out there from our eco tour boat. Well, out in the Florida waters, be it the Gulf waters or the Atlantic coast, we have about 30 different species of sharks. The sharks that are going to come to mind when people think, you know, is it safe to get in the water? They always think of Jaws. That was a great white shark. Those sharks do move in and out of the Gulf and Atlantic waters. More commonly, you might see tiger sharks and bull sharks as far as the big three. But even with that number of sharks, out of about 450 kinds of different sharks out there in the world, we might see a few dozen accidents or bites from sharks worldwide and less than 5 actual fatalities. But the sharks that we do have in our waters, for the most part, most of the sharks are under 6 feet long, like black-tip sharks and bonnet-head sharks and sharp-nosed sharks. There's just a whole plethora of sharks that all are very different and very unique in our waters. So the sand tiger sharks there, they're our biggest sharks here at the aquarium. You can see them out in the Gulf, perhaps in the cooler times of the year, and certainly off of the Atlantic coast where you'll find them from the Florida coast all the way up to almost to the New England coast. They tend to go into a little deeper, cooler water. They're best compared, they kind of move along like a dirigible, like a blimp. And then when they see a prey item, they'll snap it up, but usually just little fish. What's probably the most unique thing about the Tampa Bay area and the Tampa Bay is the fact that it's on the recovery. So 20, 30 years ago, you had a very different environment. It was more polluted. I think folks have now started to understand how they can impact the environment. So the water is making a recovery. We're seeing the scallop population come back. They're one of the animals that filter out the water, and when they go, everything else starts to decline too. So we're seeing better fish populations in the bay. That wildlife that I'm talking about may have not been as prevalent 30, 40 years ago. So we could stand here and talk all day about what's in the bay, but let's jump on board and actually let's go see. Let's go see, follow me. Look who I ran into here. This is Natalie. Natalie's a naturalist here on the Florida Aquarium's Eco Tour boat. So tell us, what can we see out here? What's the experience like? What do you expect to see on the boat?
We have a number of different animals that live out here in the bay, and of course primarily it's going to be the dolphins that live out here. There's over 500 of them that make their home out here in the bay, and we see them almost every trip that we come out. Whenever we see them out here, you get all of that great energy. I
could really see that, and the guests get really involved with you. It all becomes about who sees them and point them out, and the guests become the naturalists.
They were coming up, and if that dorsal fin came up, it actually looked like it was coming towards us as well. Yeah, so dolphins again are very curious. They have a lot of great senses. There's one right here in the wave. He was riding it right here towards us. If you see his gray body here.
How about if we look up? What do you think you might see? Anything worth looking up for?
Those are my favorites actually.
Tell
are
us
the birds
about
that are out here. We've got some pelicans. Actually today we've been able to see a number of them diving out here because that is how they hunt for fish. They will actually hit the water so hard with their body to stun the fish and then be able to scoop them up into their huge beak. Yep, we've got terns, we've got gulls out here too, because we have one of the most amazing places for them to breed here, the bird islands that have been created by the port so that they can be able to be out here and not only fish but be able to have their babies. There's also manatees out here. There's lots of different kinds of fish like tarpon, big sport fish like that. We've got sardines that live out here, turtles, all sorts of amazing animals.
How many people can fit on this boat?
We definitely can have over 100 people out here.
Wow.
I think we have a second floor deck, we've got our first floor deck, and also the front of the boat, which is my favorite area of the
Sure.
boat, because I'm kind of little. So having the stadium seating up there at the front definitely helps out when seeing the dolphins. But you can see them anywhere on the boat out
It
here.
sure looks like that. That's fantastic. Well, tell you what, I'm going to go look for some right now.
Okay.
It's been great talking to you, Natalie.
Yeah, great
Get
talking
back
to
to
you
it
too.
and tell the guests what they're going to see next. So I'm not the only one who enjoyed the Eco Tour boat ride today. I've run into a couple of ladies here. Tell me about your experience. Was it what you expected?
I didn't really know what to expect, and it was definitely a dolphin tour, so I was super excited about that, to see dolphins, especially out in their natural habitat. But I got to learn a ton of facts about different birds, such as the egret and the pelicans, and that the Florida Aquarium has helped to rehabilitate other animals out here as well. So it's been just a neat experience to be able to see how the Florida Aquarium is helping out and how I can contribute to helping out with the environment as well.
Sarah, what did you see out here?
It was really cool. We got to see a couple dolphins. We had so many birds that we saw, like Rachel was talking about. I've done tours like this before, but for me, this is like the biggest boat I've been on, first off. That
No
was
kidding.
pretty cool. I got on and I
Congratulations.
was like, this is awesome. But it's really cool to come out here and this be part of the aquarium, and you're able to come out and see so many different things, and you get to be a part of it. You get to be interactive with it, and so we got to point out the dolphins, and it was really, really cool to be interactive and be able to help her find the dolphins. So
Fantastic.